Another thing with these flowers, if you look at them, they're not like a normal flower. They're more of a closed up style. So they're fairly hard to get pollinated because, you know, the bee really has to get up in there to get it pollinated. So it's kind of hard to get them pollinated most of the time. You know, the bees do a good job, but they do miss a lot of them because of the time frame and how restricted the blossom actually is to get in there. Just a little tidbit. If you look at the blossom on this crabapple tree, you can see how much more of an open flower it is. So it's a lot easier for, you know, the pollinators to get in there and pollinate them. This is this tree here is a crabapple tree. There used to be a couple of them here, and as you can see, the one died and this one grew out of the base of it. So there's the old tree was pretty big, and you see the base of it there. The old tree grew, or the new tree grew out of that one, the younger one. Well, we lost quite a few of the other crabapple trees years ago. I used to eat these when I was a kid. They're really sour, but I decided to. These trees over here are Granny Smith, and they're starting to come out too. They're starting to flower. I was hoping that I could get some cross pollination between the Granny Smith and the crabapple, and actually start getting crab apples back on this tree, because it hasn't had fruit in, I don't know, 15 years, maybe longer. Well, we'll see. Maybe we can start getting some really sour apples again. That'd be sweet. That's how you do it. Well, it's a mess, but it's free, right? She's definitely on her way out. Oh, there's a bunch of stuff there. I gotta see if we got reverse. Nope. I'm gonna have to go around the block. I missed it. Anyway. Still shifting somewhat. Definitely making crazy whining noises, and I heard some clicks this time, so just a matter of time, right? Scrapyard I go to will take uncoated chain link fence. But, well, they'll take coated chain link fence too, but they won't pay you for it. They'll just use it as a broom until all the coating's worn off, and then they'll throw it in the shred pile. Well, we made it back one more time. Found some things this morning before the trash truck got us. Some aluminum windows down there. There's some copper in here, I think. A couple little pieces. I see one. Some brass. I don't know if that lamp's brass or not. My magnet's in the other truck still. I don't know, it might be. Sure looks like it. See the green? Probably is. There's not much there, but a little bit. Got to bust up a bunch of glass. Alright. I gotta do some brush hogging, I know that. I gotta get this. There's more rain coming, so I gotta get this field over here brush hog, get these branches chopped up before it gets soppy wet again. See if we can get a cold start on the old Perkins. Make sure she don't run us over. See if it wants to start this time. Oh yeah. We gotta take the alternator off. Alright, we gotta try to pull that shaft off of there and get some grease on there. Hopefully. Check the oil in the rear gearbox, whatever it is. That's just down. This is actually a Harbor Freight quick hitch. 3-point quick hitch. It's actually been pretty good, surprisingly. Come on. There it goes. Sometimes it needs brute force. This thing is adjustable too for different sized equipment. Some of the stuff you have to modify, like I had to put different pins in here really to get it to work correctly. And this is also a mod, which is not my idea. I did see it online, where, you know, to adjust this top hook, you have to pull these bolts out and move the hook up and bolt it back in. It's a real pain when they're nutted and bolted. So what some guy online did is he took both bolt heads and welded them to a handle. All right, so I copied it, and then you drill it through this side and put a pin in it. That way, if you want to adjust this hook, you just pull the pin, you pull both bolts right out, you move your hook, you push it back in, you put the pin in. Great idea. That saved so much time and aggravation over the... I've probably had this for about 5 years. 5 or 6 years. I think we bought this maybe a year or two before my grandfather passed. And he was always against it, you know. Oh, you know, you're out here 3 people fighting, trying to get the equipment on there. It makes it real hard, especially when you're by yourself. You can't really do it. It's really difficult. The smaller tractor, you can kind of handle it, but this thing, it's just too cumbersome. So I convinced him to get this thing, and then after we had it, he's like, man, that thing's really nice. I'm like, yeah, you old hard-headed bastard. You know? But old dogs, right? All right, back to work. It wasn't stuck that bad. I said in a few videos back that I got this thing stuck in the ditch last year by accident. I was backing up, not paying attention to what I was doing. Went right in there. It was in there all the way up to this thing. See the dirt still on it. You figure I'd have a wire brush, but can't never find them when you need them, right? Get this thing scraped out, grease up some of this stuff here. Check the gear oil in there. Don't want to blow that up. I don't want to buy a new brush hog. These things are expensive. Definitely want to grease all this stuff, because it's not worth sitting there fighting trying to get this thing plugged on and plugged off, unplugged and plugged in. It's not worth fighting with it. Been down that road. Take a couple minutes, grease it, you know. It really sucks when you're in here between the equipment trying to get something off that just doesn't want to. Like this button. Probably going to need a new universal joint there eventually too. Probably needed it years ago, really. But a buddy of mine was like, man, I got a whole bunch of stuff to do on my house. I got this huge list. I looked at him, I was like, if you seen my list, it'd be like bad Santa in the house. That thing would roll out, go down the steps, and all the way down the hallway, right? Oh. That grease zerk won't take any. This one does. That's not good. Come on, buddy. Work with me. Nope. You don't want to work, do you? I don't want to work either. Nope. Not working. I've got quite a few blueberry fields that need to be cut down because they're overgrown, and you know, it's a lot of work to go out there and prune them every year, and they're so old that they really need to be like 80 or 90% pruned out of them. So I think I'm just going to mow them completely down, which some of the other farmers around here have done that too. Guy down the street, he just did all his jerseys this year, and I liked his idea. He said he took his brush hog and he cranked his adjustment, the top link here all the way in to get a really steep angle on the brush hog, and he took the back wheel off, and then he backed into the row and took the bushes out that way. It's a little rough on the root balls, but you know, you can go out there with a chainsaw and you can cut them down and what have you, but you know, it's a lot of labor finding help to do it. The last time I did it with a chainsaw, I could only get about a row done per chain, you know, before I had to resharpen the chain because it got so dull, because you're cutting the bushes so low to the ground where the dirt splashes up when it rains, so there's a lot of dirt on the branches and it really eats the chains up. So I don't know, I think the brush hog is the way to go. I'm gonna have to get to that, and then I'll probably be 2 years before I'll see any substantial yield off of them again. But we're not really getting much off them now because they're so overgrown, so it needs to be done. And another issue is this winter's been so wet that I haven't been able to get out there because, you know, you get this brush hog out there or this tractor and it's just going to sink out of sight, which is the problem we have every year. It gets too wet in the spring of the year and the winter, and we can't get out there in a reasonable amount of time. Yada yada yada. It's the same story every year, you know. What are you gonna do? Just keep on keeping on, right? That's all you can do. Let's see how milky this thing is. Hopefully it's not, but probably is. Oh yeah. Milky. Stay cup. Well, guess we'll let some of that run out. Try to put some fresh stuff in there. That's gross. Jeez. Hopefully it's just condensation. I don't think water can really get in there, so it's probably just condensation. We'll let it drain a little bit. There's grease fittings all over the place. You got here for the front end, for the axle or spindle. These lines here go in and feed the pivot point for the front axle, so they got to be greased. There's a couple other little spots around. These are original tie rod ends and they're non-greasable. I've shoved some grease in the end every year where I can get it in on both ends, but I probably am going to have to replace these pretty soon. They've made it this long now. And yeah. Yeah, I know. Somebody's going to say it. Why don't you just drill into the caps and put a grease fitting in there? Yeah, I probably should. I'll put that on the list. It'll be probably about 3/4 of the way down though. Milkshake. Jeez. They're looking a little better. Got some more leaves on them. The ones in the back of the truck are really looking good. Let's go take a look. Yeah, they'll look a lot better at the flea market now. They got a lot more leaves on them, bigger ones. All right, let's go do some work. We got a couple hours before we got to leave for the auction, so we'll go chop these fields up. Well, from pruning, the branches that are in the fields from pruning. Let's see if this thing will start again. Every time it's like, is it gonna start? Is it gonna start? Well, it'll start, but will the starter work? See? It might be here a while. All right. I guess I got to get the camera out every time and then it'll start, right? Looking pretty good. Oh, we got some tomatoes coming up. My grandmother was in here yesterday planting. She must have just put these tomatoes in here. Wait, I don't know why they're so dry. They're kind of up high on the hill. They probably didn't get much water. I'll give them a shot. I got the timer coming on 7 o'clock in the morning and 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So we'll give them a shot of water. Let's see how. I think this tank might still. Nah, it's holding it. I thought it was leaking. I saw a couple drips yesterday, but here's the where we get the rainwater. This is the rain catchment off the roof. You guys seen it last time. Well, I guess we'll end it there. Farm vlog, right? It's gonna be more of them, that's for sure. It's gonna get busy. I gotta start plowing this field, doing all kinds of stuff. All right, thanks for watching. Remember, comment, rate, and if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. You know, make sure you hit the bell, get them notifications. I'm trying to post videos daily. Probably gonna miss a couple here and there, but you know, try to keep it going. 14.8. I think that 55 watt Siemens really puts it out, that's for sure. All right, y'all. We'll see you on the next one. Come back tomorrow. We'll see what we get at the auction. Take Shrek on his hour-long drive down there. Later.